Hi, folks. Thanks for logging on to NASCAR.com. I'm Vince Giolini, and this is Fantasy Showdown, seated alongside Mike Bell, the host of Green, White, Checkered Finish here on NASCAR.com, the co-host. And I have your polar opposite down in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Hall of Fame studios. He is TNT Pit Road reporter, Marty Snyder. Guys, you ready to go at one another? Because this week's stop is Richmond. Mike, I'll start with you. You're matching wits with the master here.
Yeah, there's a guy, he's on pit road and stuff. He's got the fire suit, and I'm usually in the Barca Lounger with a cold beer. So, yeah, polar opposites. I hear what you're saying, brother.
It's a different perspective. Marty, what do you think of this guy? He's ready to take you on.
Bell's a joke. I don't worry about him. But I don't know why Matt Roper keeps inviting me to do this show. I stink at fantasy this year. I cannot figure out the point system ever. Every week that I figure it out, I think I have it figured out. I wind up finishing ninth. I'm going to do what A.J.Allmendinger did all of last year. I'm going to put a team in and leave it and just let it run for the rest of the year.
I got to be honest, that worked for me when I was on vacation.
I think you're both sandbagging me. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, a check of the weekly standings. Let's see what happened, and a shout-out to our fan of the week, Boogity Bodie, with a 430-point performance. A.J.Allmendinger just running away with this whole thing. Back-to-back winning performances. The expert results: Mike Bell 7th, Marty Snyder 9th, and I'm sandwiched in between. But no one as bad as young Bill Kim. 51 points, which is just really not good at all.
And what's really bad is he really tries hard at this, unlike the rest of us. I know. It's sad.
He grinds over it. The overall standings, A.J.Allmendinger still on top. Bo Estes is in second. The only movement in the overall standings, Matthew Dillner and Joe Menzer flip-flopping. Well, that will take us to our picks for Richmond this week. And, Mike, since you won the week, you'll go first with our studs, sir.
All right, big guy. Obviously, Kyle Busch is a guy to look for at Richmond. But I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin. I'm going to go with the hot hand. Whatever is working, and I think Marty can speak to this too, his mojo change. Heading out west, getting his head right, getting a new crew chief who's doing a great job, Darren Grubb. I think Denny Hamlin can go back-to-back. Certainly any of the Gibbs cars can dominate under the lights of Richmond.
He might have stole some of your thunder here, Marty, with that first right-off-the-bat pick in Denny Hamlin. What do you got?
No, that's fine. When we emailed about picks yesterday, Bell went first, so he took Denny Hamlin. But that's fine. He left the door open. I'll take his teammate Kyle Busch, who's won 3 straight spring races at Richmond, very strong. I don't think it'll be a dominant performance like he's done in the past spring races at Richmond. I just don't think they have the speed in the 18 car, but they do know how to make those adjustments late in the race, especially. This is a track that changes during the race, so I'm going to go with Kyle Busch as my fantasy stud for the week.
You know, this is too straightforward. I hope we stir up the pot a little
coming,
bit. Oh, is it? I hope so. I'd like to see more rancor on the show here. All right, let's get to duds now. Marty, who do we avoid this week?
Well, I'm going to avoid this week Jamie McMurray. He's got like one top 10 in his last 14 Richmond races. But here's the fantasy killer for McMurray at Richmond. He always qualifies well. You look at this fall race last year, he qualified second, finished 14th. That's going to kill your fantasy standings. Don't pick McMurray this weekend. He's the opposite at Richmond of what you want on a fantasy team.
Michael?
You know, I figured with Marty's on, because, you know, he's Mr. Sideline Reporter. You see him doing March Madness, and I'm just a lonely talk show host, so I got to come with some facts here. I got to have some stats.
What'd you do, research?
It's all in the noggin here, Chilini.
Oh,
watch out. You just made the list too, pal. Going to go with Matt Kenseth, and the reason why is his best finish the last 3 years has been 13th. He averaged a 21st place finish the last 2 races at Richmond last season, so not really his cup of tea necessarily. Obviously, he's going to go on and be a contender to other tracks, but not necessarily at Richmond for Matt Kenseth.
Give us one to watch here. How about a surprise?
How about we go with Kurt Busch? I mean, you know, how about this? You're on the top of the world. Talk about going from the penthouse to the outhouse. I mean, you're driving for Penske, and now he's like in, I don't know what he's in. I think he's in the back of an El Camino right now in the infield, riding for Phoenix Racing. So just, you know, for a little karma for the guy that's not exactly getting a lot of love, Kurt Busch, maybe the worm will turn. He did have a top 5 in the September race last year, so maybe a top 10 for a guy that doesn't cost you that much money this year because he's on an underfunded team.
Yeah, I can tell you what it's like to be in NASCAR purgatory. It's right over here in this chair. All right, Marty, finally, what do you say? Give us a guy to watch.
Bell had done so well until that pick, Vince. I mean, you got to give me. Come on, he hasn't run well all year. Come on, especially at short tracks where he normally runs well, like Bristol. Anyway, I picked the guy who replaced him for my one to watch, A.J.Allmendinger, and I picked him for my one to watch at Martinsville and wound up finishing second there. Very good at the short tracks. He's always been good at Richmond. Now he's in some Penske equipment. Obviously, as my friend Mike Bell just mentioned, this car that he's running just finished in the top 10 here at Richmond last fall. So I'm going to go with A.J.Allmendinger as one to watch this weekend.
You going to take that from him?
I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, we're looking for value, one to watch. I'm giving you value. It's like we're shopping at Dollar General. I'm giving you Kurt Busch.
What's the world coming to?
I don't know. Marty, hey, Mr. Big Shot over there. I don't know.
All right, well, it's all set in stone now, and hopefully we've helped you set up your fantasy roster for this week. We also want to remind you that NASCAR.com has been nominated for a Webby, despite the fact that I'm on this show. And it's because of the stunning analysis of our current experts like Mike and Marty. So help us out, fans, and log on to the website on the screen to get Marty and Mike Bell a Webby. Voting ends Thursday, April 26th. And that does it for this week's edition of Fantasy Showdown. Marty Snyder and Mike Bell. I'm Vince Cellini. And
a Webby.
Remember to vote. Yeah, Webby.
You like me. You people really like me.
Do you have any other useless awards at home? I know you have some. You have some bad plaques at home. What's there? What were you like? Some
Steps on the
host of the year somewhere in St. Petersburg?
Shut up. You say goodbye to the people. Bye.